This is DJ Parata talking movies on DVD again. Today we're going to go over some movies that I've really enjoyed watching over the years, and hopefully some of these might be favorites of yours as well. So here goes. We're going to start off. The first film, Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks. Really good movie about Leonardo DiCaprio, who is like a forger. Everything about him is like a fake. He's like faked the fact that he was a airline pilot, um, faked that he was a doctor, and he was passing bad checks along the way. And how he does all those things is still a little beyond me. Um, I guess he was able to just fool people in like these small towns, before the internet, obviously. Tom Hanks is a investigator, actually for the FBI, I believe, who's like been on his tail trying to, catch him. So thus the title, Catch Me If You Can. A very good movie, directed by Steven Spielberg. Um, Excellent film if you haven't seen it. Next, an 80s classic, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Um, a real funny movie about this guy, Ferris Bueller, who's like a prankster in school. And so he like, happens to kind of, he's playing hooky. And like there's like a lot of shenanigans going on. And it's really funny. One of the 80s all-time comedies. Matthew Broderick, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Really good film. Staying with the 80s, Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop. This happens to be the sequel, Cop 2, but both the first one and the second one are also 80s classics. Um, Beverly Hills Cop, kind of shows how the cops are like kind of goofy in Beverly Hills. Um, they're not like they're not like real serious cops. Okay, um, Eddie Murphy plays a actually he's a cop himself from Detroit, and he goes out to Beverly Hills because a friend of his winds up getting killed by these bad guys out there. So and it's sort of it's another 80s classic because it kind of pokes fun at how the Beverly Hills cops work. Very slow. Kind of like um, let's have our iced coffees first. That type, okay? Eddie Murphy, big star. Terminator 2, probably one of the best films um, from the 90s. Better than the original Terminator in terms of storyline, quality, and really high tech. Directed by James Cameron, who later brought us Titanic and other films, but Terminator 2 definitely a a game changer. Um, as Arnold Schwarzenegger, he comes back again, and he has so many classic lines. Hasta la vista, baby. Come with me if you want to live. All classics, okay? So Terminator 2, definitely. Here's a 80s film, kind of a coming of age film about these college graduates who um, were orphans and their stories. These actors were very young back then. You had Demi Moore, okay, Emilio Estevez, um, Rob Lowe. Who else is here? Andrew McCarthy. Okay, this this is like a Brat Pack movie. Um, think of Friends, but but like college friends. All right, so it's like their story. He kind of a fun kind of a movie. Okay, you know, something kind of enjoyable on a Saturday afternoon. All right, Saint Elmo's Fire, which has a pretty good soundtrack also. Uh, Man in Motion was one of the songs from the movie. John Parr was the singer. The theme of Saint Elmo's Fire, uh, written and performed by David Foster, who's who was one of the big soundtrack guys. A little bit later, his name will come back up today. All right, so Saint Elmo's Fire. Next, another '80s classic, An Officer and a Gentleman. Deborah Winger, Richard Gere. This is really Richard Gere's best movie, I think. All right. Last time we talked about American Gigolo, and of course we know him in Pretty Woman, but An Officer and a Gentleman is really, to me, his best film. Um, Also with a great soundtrack, a couple of songs. Up Where We Belong, Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes. Right, so and a young Deborah Winger, and a very good movie. You want romance? You've got romance. You want some action? There's action, and but in the end, it's a great love story. All right, An Officer and a Gentleman. American Graffiti. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite films. Okay, um, directed by George Lucas of Star Wars fame. So he made this movie like around 1974, I believe, and the story takes place in 1962, and it's it's a really good movie, coming of age movie, um, about two guys from California that is going to be going to college, and it's like their last night of fun. Okay, so it's got Harrison Ford in it, Ron Howard from Happy Days. All right, many of these actors, Cindy Williams from Laverne and Shirley. Um, this movie had quite a few of these young actors. Oh, Richard Dreyfuss also from Jaws. So a really good movie, coming of age movie. Probably one of the best soundtracks of any movie. If you like the oldies, songs from the late 1950s and early 60s, because it takes place in 62. So George Lucas chose songs that fit right in that timeline. Great movie. Must see if you haven't seen it. American Graffiti. They made a sequel, more American Graffiti, but it's not as good. Okay, most sequels are never as good, but this is one of George Lucas' best films, and that's saying a lot because he's the one that did Star Wars. All right, so to me, American Graffiti is a must see. All right. So staying with the early '60s, another '80s classic, Dirty Dancing. Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey. I think everyone knows about Dirty Dancing, right? It's got such a great soundtrack. Um, the Time of My Life, and She's Like the Wind, Hungry Eyes, right? Um, Great movie. Takes place in the Catskills of New York State, early '60s again, and um, you know, great movie. Patrick Swayze, as the dance instructor, and Jennifer Grey as the character known as Baby, and another romantic film. Okay, great for another Saturday afternoon watch. Okay, The Bodyguard. What can you say about The Bodyguard? Whitney Houston, Kevin Costner. Um, Such an epic movie, 90s movie. Um, Whitney Houston really was at the height of her singing career when she did this. The songs, I think everyone knows the songs. I Will Always Love You, Run to Me, no, Run to You, um, and all the songs from The Bodyguard. Now, David Foster produced the songs, and he even co-wrote one or two of the songs. So that's where David Foster, who did St. Elmo's Fire, comes into play here. Um, Whitney Houston, she never looked better than she did in this film. Um, just radiant, and a really good movie. And I think everyone has seen The Bodyguard. Okay, so another classic. Harrison Ford, who we just talked about in American Graffiti, and Harrison Ford was in the Star Wars movies as Han Solo, but this is one of my favorite um, Harrison Ford films, Blade Runner. Blade Runner came out in '82. Such a great science fiction movie. Um, what can you say about it? There's been a sequel made recently, last couple of years, I think. But Harrison Ford plays a great character. You know, Blade Runner is like, this takes place in the future, and where you have these robots, kind of like what they call replicants, and they're like doing the hard labor, and then they all of a sudden one day rebel against the system, and Harrison Ford plays a policeman, and his job is to eliminate those replicants. And such a great movie, such a great soundtrack, score. Um, the movie, even though the movie's from '82, it still looks fantastic. So if you haven't seen Blade Runner, please um, check it out. Goodfellas. If you want to see a good mobster movie, this is the best one. Goodfellas. Okay, a classic. All right, based on a true story. About these guys, but the acting, incredible acting. Martin Scorsese or Martin Scorsese directed this fantastic movie from start to finish. A great film, keeps you on the edge of your seat. Um, Great acting, great directing. So, pretty sure everyone has seen Goodfellas, but definitely worth having on DVD. Staying with the genre of crime, Scarface, Al Pacino. I mean, can it get any more classic than this? Um, Early '80s movie, um, Al Pacino, very over the top, but excellent movie. You won't get bored. Classic lines like "Welcome to my little friend," or something like that. Anyway, Al Pacino, Scarface. Now we're gonna go back into the '70s, 1977, around the holiday season, Christmas really, 1977, when Saturday Night Fever came out. And this was like a low budget movie. Um, at the time, there were really no expectations. John Travolta, no one really knew um, who he was. He was on TV, Welcome Back Carter, playing a character named Vinnie Barbarino, but he had never made any motion pictures really, and this was like a big starring role. And so of course we know Saturday Night Fever really exploded. The soundtrack, the BG soundtrack, and everything. So Saturday Night Fever, definitely a movie that's worth watching. Also has one of the best soundtracks, besides American Graffiti, and which I had mentioned American Graffiti, but the Bee Gees soundtrack. Not only Bee Gees, there were other artists, but those songs, "Staying Alive," "Night Fever," "How Deep Is Your Love," "More Than a Woman," combined with the movie, just made this a definitely an iconic film from the 70s. Right after John Travolta did Saturday Night Fever, he did Grease, which is the biggest musical ever in the history of musicals. Um, John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, playing high school kids from Rydell High. They were a little bit kind of too old, really, to be playing high school seniors, but that's Hollywood, and I think everyone has seen Grease, right? Definitely a must see if you haven't seen it. So, and also the soundtrack, another incredible soundtrack, from the movie Grease. So now, John Travolta, after making those movies in the late 70s, in the 80s, John Travolta still made movies, but they were not epic films. So basically, this movie, Pulp Fiction, kind of brought John Travolta back into the limelight. Um, Pulp Fiction, which is a Quentin Tarantino movie, he plays like an assassin, and it's like Quentin Tarantino, his style of humor and um, that he mixes up with usually a lot of blood and mayhem, shootings, but this one brought John Travolta back, um, like I said, into the limelight. Uma Thurman also was a big part of this film. So Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction. Um, we're gonna stay with a couple of his films here. Kill Bill, uh, Volume 1, and also Kill Bill Volume 2. Now, these were all one movie, but because they were so long, he had to cut them and make one Volume 1 and the other Volume 2. So, two separate movies, but it's all one continuation. Now, Quentin Tarantino, this film, or these two films, have roots to the martial arts movies of the 70s. So, these are very bloody movies. Okay, a lot of action, but definitely a lot of blood, mayhem. Killing. So he's got. It's about these assassins, and that the Uma Thurman character, she wants to leave, and I guess the syndicate doesn't want her to leave, and they want to kill her. So um, definitely a lot of action. Right? Now, Quentin Tarantino takes like inspiration, or um, not only inspiration, but he loved the Hong Kong martial arts movies. Now, one of the actors that's in Kill Bill, his name is Gordon Liu. Here he is in the 36 Chambers of Shaolin. Now, anyone that likes martial arts movies would have seen this film, okay? This is one of the all-time classics, the 36 Chambers of Shaolin. And it's like about a monk that has to kind of go through this whole, um, all these chambers in order to, graduate from the monastery, right? So Gordon Liu happens to be in the Kill Bill movies. Now that's kind of interesting, right? That Quentin Tarantino got him to be in his films too. So this is one of the all-time classic martial arts movies, The 36 Chambers of Shaolin. Now, one director that Quentin Tarantino really liked was a director from Hong Kong named John Woo. Now, John Woo has made movies in America, and he made some real classics in Hong Kong in the from like the mid 80s to the late 90s, okay? This happens to be one of them. The Killer. If you want to see a really good cop gangster shoot 'em up, you have to see The Killer, John Woo. Um, John Woo came to Hollywood, and I'm going to show you one of his films in a second. He directed Mission Impossible 2. He also um, directed a movie called Broken Arrow, which has John Travolta. And so The Killer, though, is a great movie. It's about an assassin. The guy on the left, his name is Zhao Yun Fat. That's the actor's name. The guy on the right, his name is Danny Lee. The cop is on the right. The assassin is on the left. Um, the assassin wants to do one more job before he hangs it up. He needs to make get some money, because during one of his prior shootouts, he accidentally kind of like blinds this woman who was a singer at like a nightclub. But she doesn't know that he's an assassin, so he's been trying to kind of um, take care of her. But she needs an operation, so he's gonna do one more job. And if you watch any of these kind of movies, these like shoot 'em up or assassin movies, whenever someone has to do one more job, you know that nothing good is gonna really happen, because there's something always bad happens, because somehow the syndicate is not going to just let him just walk like that. And so the cop is trying to bring the assassin in, but they wind up kind of getting entwined, because the mob is trying to essentially kill them off. All right, so they actually develop a real kind of a bond, you know, admiration between the cop and the assassin. And so a great film, The Killer, John Woo. Now another great John Woo movie, Hard Boiled. Same actor, Zhao Yun Fat. Um, this is this was John Woo's last movie in Hong Kong before he came to Hollywood. And another shoot 'em up. This time he plays a cop. And John Woo is famous for his two-gun shooting, and bullets flying, slow motion. And so a really, really another John Woo classic, Hard Boiled. Now, John Woo came to Hollywood and he made Broken Arrow, Mission Impossible 2 with Tom Cruise. Um, but this was his best movie, I think, in Hollywood. John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, Face Off, a really good movie. Um, a little bit science fiction, actually, because it kind of takes place a little bit in the future uh, about these two guys. John Travolta is like a real bad guy. Nicolas Cage is a cop, but they wind up somehow changing their faces and thus face off. And it's a really interesting title because they kind of face off against each other. Great film, another John Travolta classic. This was from the 90s. Excuse me. And so a really enjoyable movie. You have to watch it. John Woo, classic. We're going to end this with a comedy, The Naked Gun, from the same directors as Airplane. Leslie Nielsen, very funny movie, kind of spoofing a lot of, these police movies. O.J. Simpson was in this film. A lot of pranks. Really, really funny. If you haven't seen it, please do. It's really funny. The Naked Gun. So there we have it. Movies on DVD, once again. So if you guys enjoyed this, please tell your friends, subscribe, like, share, comment, good, bad, or otherwise. All right. So this is DJ Parata signing off, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you at the movies. Have a good day.